I have two friends that recently started an Etsy store now in late 2024. And as I was talking to them, I kind of realized that if I were to start over, I would do a lot of things differently. So in today's video, I'll go over the 7 things that I would do differently if I started my print-on-demand journey on Etsy today. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I would do is to only do t-shirts to begin with for a couple of reasons. What I mean by this, if we go into Printify here, the shirt that I'm referring to is the Vela Canvas 3001. I actually started with the Gildan 64,000. I started with this shirt. This is also a great shirt. But as I was selling it throughout my journey, I just noticed that almost everyone is selling the Velas. Plus, the color choices are not as broad. At least it wasn't as broad at the time with the Gildan 64,000. So I switched over to the Velas. Another huge thing too, when it comes to Printify overall, compared to other print providers, is that they have really good prices on these. So these cost like $9.13 and the Gildans cost almost the same. Yeah, it costs maybe $1 more. This is kind of a huge difference, but the benefit that I got from this from switching was just a lot broader. So the first thing, to basically use the Vela shirts and to only start off with these. And the biggest reason actually for you starting with t-shirts is because it has the express delivery option. So what I would basically do here is list all of my items with only the express shipping colors, because one of the main variables to actually like selling on Etsy, if we look at the Hormozy value equation here, one of the main variables to actually sell on Etsy, these equate to value. And if we can lower the time delay as much as possible, like how fast they can actually get it, then it will be huge. With basically the express delivery here that they have, they can ship it usually like within 24 hours or maybe like another day. From my understanding of it, they usually pick like a print provider that's really close to the customer so that they can actually accommodate the 2 to 3 business day delivery I think that they have. It's somewhere around that. So basically what they're talking about is that with express delivery, you can get these within 2 to 3 business days, which is huge. So basically, if we have the Velas here and all of them have, and you only have like the colors listed, which are, let's see here. You got the black, the white, the athletic heather, the dark gray heather. With the Velas, it's the black, white, navy, dark gray heather, and athletic heather. If you only offer those colors, you can basically say within your whole listing that you will receive these within like 2 to 3 business days, which is insane. So if you just think about like Amazon Prime, for instance, they have the like 2-day delivery, I think, with the express delivery option on Etsy. So how I basically do it is only sell t-shirts and be really adamant in the listing that these will be delivered within 2 to 3 business days. And it could be good to actually offer have some buffer for the shirts. So maybe like say 5 days at maximum or something like that, but usually like within 2 to 3 business days, something in those lines. But anyhow, just being able to offer t-shirts at a 2 to 3 business days delivery is huge. Mainly the first thing that I would do in the beginning is only offer t-shirts, and all of them should have express delivery on them, as that's one of the main variables to actually getting sales. Another option that's also like kind of new to Printify, but not super new at the time being, that's to be able to offer gift notes. So if you can basically have this as an add-on, because if you sell on Printify and you use the Velas, for instance, you can have gift notes on express delivery orders. So that's a no-no, but at least for the time being, if they order with just standard shipping, if that's like an added option into the listing, like let's say that the branding is basically 2 to 3 business days delivery, or at like maximum 5 business days. But as an add-on, if they want like standard shipping, they can actually include gift notes within their orders. That would definitely also like increase conversions, because in my experience with actually selling on Etsy, it's one of the absolutely highest requested things. Almost all of them just include it anyway, even though it's not an option in my store at least. So being able to offer gift notes within the listing itself is huge. So I would basically add that as an add-on if they can do standard shipping instead. That's just one thing that I would add as a bonus within the listing, if they choose standard shipping instead. And another thing that I would definitely implement from the very get would be a guarantee. The guarantee could be something, for instance, like If you're unhappy with your order for any reason, you can contact us within like 7 to 14 days and we'll be happy to give you a refund or a replacement. Something like that would be like offset risk for the customer and put it back on us, the sellers. And it would also increase conversion rate for like more seasoned sellers, but conversion rate overall too. But in the beginning, what will be mainly noticeable is that you will get sales easier by having this guarantee in your store. That's just something that would fast track the progress, in my opinion. Another huge thing that I would really use in the beginning is to use break-even pricing to get my listings ranked at the beginning. So let's say that we basically sell the Bellas. Okay, so the express delivery option, if we use that on a Bella canvas shirt, for instance, that would be $17.12. If we basically sell them at like $22, for instance, or like $23, maybe, yes, let's say they take $23. If we list them at that with those specific like delivery times, that would be huge. We can get some sales initially to actually garner rank in search, because if we are ranked higher, we will get more sales. But at the end of the day, in order to get rank, you need to get sales. And the easiest thing to actually do in the beginning to actually get sales is to list them at a lower price, because in my experience, the lower price you have, the more volume you do. Whereas the higher margin you have, the lower volume you do, but the more profit in the end you make. Basically here, I would list them at like $23. So I have some buffer if something goes wrong. So like $3 buffer here. And once the listing itself has sold about like 10 to 15 sales or garnered a 50% visibility score on Everbee. If I just go into this listing right here, for instance, there's this thing called the visibility score, this part here. I don't know exactly how it works, but I just noticed that if this specific visibility score here is 50% or more, a 50% visibility score, I just noticed that it's achieved enough rank to still get sales and still climb in search, basically. So yeah, a 50% visibility score on Everbee or a 10 to 15 sales on the listing itself. Because I also noticed that if you are in some smaller niches and you sold like 20 of them, the visibility score can still be quite small. So it's either or, like 10 to 15 sales or a 50% visibility score on Everbee. And if you want to use Everbee, I have a link down in the description. It really supports the channel if you want to use that link and if you want to get Everbee. Same thing with Printify, there's a link in the description for that too. Another thing that I would use from the very beginning, that's almost like, it's not crucial for a print-on-demand store, but it's something that really makes it easier to sell in the beginning, and that's personalization. One item that I talked about recently is the Christmas stockings. If I just search for Christmas stockings here, and I live in Sweden, so I gotta filter this to ship to the US. Otherwise, the search results are skewed, as my target market is only the US. Then I had a star seller filter, swap out star for best to only get the best sellers for a given niche. Because this makes it just easier to view the results and to just see bestsellers for a niche. Now, every single stocking, the main thing that's the common denominator within these is that they actually personalize with a name. So personalization is just a huge thing. And just to gauge how much this actually sells, like in total, this has an estimated monthly revenue of like $23,689, which is crazy. That's in a month. Remember, these are projections. Everbee calculates it of different like metrics. It's not like pinpoint accurate, but it's definitely in the ballpark. This is still mid-September. The closer we get to Christmas and to Q4 peak, which is between Black Friday to like the 15th of December, this will just go even more ham. And the thing that I want to get across, since these are implemented on every single stocking here, personalization is basically key for this specific product category. Implementing personalization from the start, I think that I would do from the very beginning to actually grow my shop. And the last thing that I really want to pinpoint, that I would use an LLC, not a sole proprietorship. When you register your business with Etsy and you start off your journey, I use my sole proprietorship that I already had. I entered my VAT ID and everything, and then I just went away. You went on my journey, basically. Had I known the outcome, it would be much easier to have I have a Swedish equivalent of an LLC now. If I would just implement that within the store instead, it would save me a lot on taxes. Because if you sell, like here in Sweden, for instance, if you have more than like 600,000 kronor in profit each year, it's more beneficial to actually have an LLC here in Sweden compared to a sole proprietorship. I'm not sure how it is abroad, but here in Sweden it's like that, and I can imagine that it's kind of similar in different parts of the world too. That a sole proprietorship is easier to begin with, but once you actually make some real profit with the business, then it's usually more beneficiary to actually have an LLC. So I wish I would register my Etsy business with my LLC, because you actually can't transfer ownership of shops. It's a really weird thing that I think Etsy has done, but you can't sell the shop, for instance, because you can't transfer it to someone else, which is kind of weird. So you can't actually sell the business in and of itself. But if you just break that down, it just means that you actually can't transfer the ownership of the shop to any other party than the one that it was registered with. So I'm kind of stuck with my sole proprietorship. It's really hard to actually get in touch with them, and everything is so algorithmically based. I really don't want to risk it trying to implement my LLC within my Etsy store to not get it suspended by any means. I actually tried to fiddle around with my payment settings a long while after I started it, and I actually put my shop on holiday mode, or whatever it's called. Yeah, holiday mode. I don't ever touch those settings. I just leave them as I initially started with, to not upset the Etsy algorithm. Using an LLC instead of a sole proprietorship is something I would definitely do if I started over my Etsy store today. And as a bonus thing that I've thought about, but I haven't experimented with, but I got a comment on my YouTube video recently that talked about it, and it's been on my mind, but I haven't delved into it myself, and that's actually bundling. Because if you have big margins and someone wants to buy, for instance, a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, or a sweatshirt and a mug, you can bundle those together so that the person could actually get a mug and a sweatshirt within one and the same listing. If the margins cover up for that, then you can definitely do it profitably. But that's something that I haven't delved into, and it's something that's hugely underexplored on Etsy itself, as usually when someone searches for something, they want a specific thing. But if you can find a way to actually bundle items together, then that's a major opportunity to get sales on Etsy and to really stand out from the pack, because you're offering something that almost no one else is offering. So that would be a major way to actually grow our shop now in late 2024 and in 2025. So to summarize, I would only use t-shirts to begin with, and all of them should have express delivery on them, so that you can basically promise that the customer will get them within 2 to 3 business days. And if you want some buffer, that they will actually, for any kind of lag or something like that, then it could be good to actually say within 5 business days. Another thing that I would include would be gift notes as an option, as an add-on within the listing, if they don't want to use it, the delivery option. That's something that's highly requested, that almost everyone wants. And for the time being, Printify doesn't have gift notes in their express delivery within the express delivery option. Maybe it's in the future, but not at the time being. I would use a guarantee within my store that just says, if you're happy for any reason, you can contact us within 7 to 14 days and get a refund or replacement, as that really offsets the risk from the customer and puts it back on the seller, which makes it easy to actually sell something without reviews. And if you have some reviews, it increases conversion rates. I would use break-even pricing to garner rank initially. I would use personalization. There's so many listings that offer that now, and for instance, in the Christmas stocking niche that I mentioned, it's almost vital to have it. But also use an LLC, to not a sole proprietorship, as it's more tax beneficiary. And the last thing that I would explore, if I would want to basically, is bundling. So bundling sweatshirts and mugs together, and making sure that I have big margins to cover that. But that's something that's hugely underexplored, that could really set you up to do stuff on Etsy that almost no one is doing, and really stand out and really grow fast. So this video covers the overall strategies that I would use if I started over today. However, it doesn't go into the most crucial part about print on demand, which is design. If you want to learn more about that, then I suggest watching this video right here. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.